Hey, good morning. It's Jazz. It's the West Ham Minds channel, back after a couple of weeks break again. So back fresh. Yep, we've got a game tomorrow at the Villa in the afternoon, which is obviously live on all the usual channels. So yeah, five takeaway show again. We'll try to bring new things to you on this newly rebranded, revamped channel, really. So yeah, this show is called Five Takeaways. I will try to do one of these after each of the games, and it's five takeaway points that I want to discuss with you that's kind of come out from that match. But for this particular show, which is one of the first, it's five takeaways from our season so far. So five things that I have noticed was come to my mind that's quite interesting to kind of talk about, really. But before we really get into it, like I said, if this is the first time you've come to the West Ham Minds channel, please subscribe. We are racing towards the 2,000 sub mark, so the quicker we get there, a really good milestone for me. And again, yeah, follow our channel sort of partners and friends. You've got kind of Canning Town Len, go and buy a portrait of yourself or anything you want, a pet or any player, signed, original, whatever, canvas, good quality print. So great kind of artist is Canning Town Len. West Ham Way events, which are regularly before every game. So there's one coming up at the Nottingham Forest game starting 10 in the morning at Colour Factory, which is kind of opposite Hackney Wick Station, literally 10 minutes from the ground. There'll be Anton Ferdinand and Marlon Harewood there as guests. So get your tickets. You can get things signed. It's about £5 a pint. You can get food ordered as well at the table. Listen to a great interview that Martin Allen, the host, will do. There's so much more than that. West Ham Way event. Yeah, that's kind of our very own Frankie doing it, alongside Dave Walker, an ex-employee. And then you got Vibes, so search for Vibes on Instagram. Many different types of clothes in there, hats, tops, bottoms, really. So yeah, let's get into the show and talk about five key takeaways that I can think of that I think are quite crucial, quite important, quite interesting to talk about, really. The first one is James Ward-Prowse. Literally, I've been speaking about this player for God knows how long now, in terms of, God, I wish we could get him. I never really thought we would. I just thought, yeah, he might go somewhere that's perhaps close to Champions League or in the Champions League. But listen, relegation hit Southampton, it hit Leicester, and you don't get that kind of crazy window where, yeah, Ward-Prowse left Southampton after about 8 years. Maddison is ripping it up at Spurs. Harvey Barnes at Newcastle. Bit injuries there, but I think long term he'll be a good player. One that I wanted at West Ham as well. So James Ward-Prowse, I think he's around 28 years old, 29 in November. In and out the England squad. Obviously born and bred in the UK. Very down to earth guy. Great professional. Probably the number one set piece expert in the country, really. He's about to match or beat David Beckham's free kick record in the Premier League, and literally, you've seen it, the guy has literally started and finished every single game, which is saying something under David Moyes. He rarely brings you straight in. You know what he's like, leaves you on the bench for ages. But even he knew, and I think, to be honest, I think this is one player that David Moyes did want, and perhaps a technical director didn't. But it's a non-risk signing in terms of, I know David Moyes doesn't want to disrupt the dressing room harmony and spirit that we've got, and Ward-Prowse wasn't never going to do that. He was, if anything, he was going to improve it. And even people like Emerson Kufala saying in training, he's amazing, he's teaching us so many different things, and you can't put into words or points at the end of the season how much that means when he brings at least 10 goals at a minimum or assists to the club. So you look at that, if he provides 10 goals or assists, and I think he's around about halfway there already with that target, look how many points that could mean on the table. When end of the season, you look at the table and you usually think, oh, we just missed off a European place by 3 points, or we just missed off that place by 2-3 points. So when you add it up, I mean, you imagine that every penalty, right, every free kick, every corner is in the safest pair of hands and feet, shall I say, there is in the whole country. And I am greedy. It's just, I am passionate, I am greedy, and I think we could have done even so much better. He's putting that corner on the head of Zuma or Agard or Souček, and it's just, more often than not, it's just not going in, and it should do. the way he sets you up, you just got to connect. It's in. He's that good. And I'm so happy that, we took ages getting it over the line. And, anyone else could have taken him. We damn tried our best at someone taking, but... And I know players often say that, supported West Ham as a kid. I love it here. But I felt his kind of interview after signing for us was fairly genuine. He respected the club. He knew about the club. He likes the stadium. He likes the fans. And I think that's nice to hear. And I think he's one of those few nice people out there. Genuine, isn't he? And I think he's one of those, if you've got any daughters, she brings him home like, Dad, there's James. You think like, he's kind of nice and Mr. Clean, very efficient. He probably irons his socks like Bobby Moore and all that thing. And he's the future captain of West Ham. I mean, I have discussed that Zuma is a great centre-back, one of the best still in the league, I think, when in terms of, I keep mentioning when I talk about Agar later on, Zuma is a model centre-half to look at, to learn from. Always in the right place, hardly puts a foot wrong. But in terms of captain material, maybe he's too nice, maybe he's not vocal enough. You got Agar struggling next to him, which I will talk about a bit later on. Perhaps he could help him a bit more. Perhaps he could organise and marshal defence a bit more. As a captain should Alvin Martin, Bobby Moore, Billy Bonds, Tony Gale, all those type of guys, even Matthew Upson to an extent. So I think Ward-Prowse would be a better captain than Zuma. Not taking nothing away from Zuma, but I just think like for like, matching both of them together, pitching each other against each other, I think Ward-Prowse would be amazing captain. And the more of those types we have in the club, the better. And I kept saying that we needed more leaders, more aggressive people in the team. And having said that, it's very hard. There's not many of them around. So I'm so glad that we got Ward-Prowse in, right? Hopefully he doesn't get injured, rarely does. I know the controversy with Southgate, and by the way, I hardly watch any England games with Southgate as manager. It just doesn't interest me. I hate watching that manager. I hate his tactics. It bores the pants off me. I think celebrating a final defeat to the oldest team in the competition, Italy, when he put 6-7 people behind the ball, it's nothing to celebrate. I have no confidence in England winning anything under Southgate, and it's going to be a waste of a really good team we have. Got people like Bellingham, who's going to be one of the best players in the world, if not already, in the next up and coming years, and many players like that around him. You got Saka, you got kind of Bowen in there as well. Harry Kane's in and out already. He's one of the top sort of strikers in the world, as he's shown at Bayern. And so forth. I think it'd be such a waste. But for me, one of the biggest takeaways of the season is Ward-Prowse. Great signing, great player. He's up there already as Hammer of the Year very early on already, and I think it's nice to see so many children at the Sheffield United game with Ward-Prowse on their back. So we have moved on. I have, you have, everyone's forgotten about Rice, and like I said, players come and go. We remain, club remains, heroes come and go, and it's nice to see that the kids have moved on from having Rice on the back of their shirts to Ward-Prowse, and that's our new hero, isn't it? So that's kind of the first point. Again, let me know in the chat what you think, but there is nothing anywhere near negative to say about him, and he's hit the ground running. And sometimes managers and players are made for each other with the clubs. They're made for each other, but you don't quite realise that until you do a bit of research and they come to you. So like I mentioned many times, we could sign Mbappe, Neymar tomorrow, but they wouldn't fit in at West Ham. It just wouldn't work. It's one of those things. But some players and managers and clubs are made for each other. And when they move away, you can see the difference and things like that. So I think Ward-Prowse and West Ham, it's a nice chemistry. It's a nice mix. Like Ward-Prowse at Man United, Ward-Prowse at Liverpool, Man City. I don't think he'll work as well as here. He fits very nicely. He's playing relatively in the same position he done at Southampton. Similar formation, similar family club, shall I say? Good academies, family run, good traditional clubs, and he's not that far from South Coast. Of course, he's still got a house there and family largely there. I'm sure he can drive down the M3 more often than not. So I think it ticks all the boxes. And I know the age was perhaps a couple of years more than what we hoped, because we do have one of the oldest squads out there, right? And we're trying to, minimise that every window. So I know 28, 29 isn't ideal. Isn't ideal in terms of the board looking at investments and resale value. But sometimes there's exceptions, and Ward-Prowse was an exception. So when Maddison, Ward-Prowse, they come to the market, you have to go all out and get them in. because you're not going to get that chance that often, really. So yeah, for me, Ward-Prowse, again, put your comments in. For me, I'm sure many of you will agree that he's a fan favourite, or becoming one slowly. And yeah, he's Hammer of the Year so far, really, for me. So on to the second takeaway, which will kind of nicely bring it on to this one. If I can find the actual thing. Where's he gone? There we go. Got so many things written down here. Edson Alvarez, another new signing, came from Ajax. I think he's around mid-20s, very good age. CDM, right? So you can say in a way we got good money in for Rice, and we've kind of replaced him with two players in that middle, isn't it? We've got Ward-Prowse, who isn't the dirty proper CDM, but he can do more than half a good job in there as a CDM, as well as spraying the passes around and assist, as I mentioned. But alongside him is the proper CDM. That was, again, you can watch all my shows. I kept saying that the last thing we want to do is replace Rice with a £18 million CDM. There's no need for that. Rice is a one-off where he can do one of the things above CDM, and that's why his price went that high. He was young, he's an England regular, that kind of premium. Edson Alvarez is everything that we wanted. Someone like Højbjerg, right? He doesn't want to run up and down the pitch. He doesn't want to score from 30 yards. He doesn't want to take penalties. He doesn't want to take corners. He's not interested in scoring too many goals, even though he has a fair few in his career. But the most important thing is he does what's written on the tin. He's a CDM, traditional CDM, which means he's physical. He puts his foot in. He wins the ball. He keeps the play ticking. He straight away gives it to someone more technical or skillful like Paqueta. That's all you need from him. And even in some games, he's been used more often than not like a sweeper. He sits, just in front of the centre-back, so giving extra protection, allowing Paqueta and Ward-Prowse to go a bit further up the field and help the 3-4 up front. So again, he's a good signing. There are one or two things that can be ironed out. Yellow cards is happening quite a lot, but that's happening with a lot of players. I mean, it looks like you breathe on the pitch, you get a yellow card, but he will have to watch it, otherwise he will have a regular suspensions. I think he's got a fan favourite potential in him again, because he's got that physical side to him, that aggression, that 100%, that winning the ball, tough tackling, which all the West Ham fans traditionally like. So for me, really, really good again. And like I kept saying, we always have a go at the board sometimes in terms of transfer windows, including this one. How long we didn't sign anyone, but you got to applaud the directors, the scouts, the managers, Sullivan, whoever was involved in bringing Ward-Prowse in and bringing Edson Alvarez in. Solid signings, Mexican international. Again, I don't think there's going to be hardly any risk in him, I don't think. I think, if anything, he's got a few notch to go up yet. He'll improve even more. But I can see that we've got to be a bit patient with him. Premier League is very hard compared to playing for Ajax in the Dutch league, as we know. So give him time. Next year he'll be even better. So there will be some games where you might wanted a bit more out of him on one or two little situations. He didn't quite do it, but for me, he's getting the blocks in, he's getting the challenges in, he's a regular, strong player, and I think he's got a bit of a presence about him, the dressing room, in and around. I remember the players mentioning when he came in first, they were like, whoa, this is what we needed, a physical player. I mean, some of the tackles that he's flying in training, that's what you want. Not too many players like him in the game either, because you can't touch a player these days. Football's becoming a non-contact sport, isn't it, with VAR and all that controversy. So big second takeaway for me, Edson Alvarez, again, solid player. Good signing by the club, mid-20s, and brings the average age down a bit, because, older squad. But I think he's a player that I know that Newcastle were looking at, and one or two other players are looking at. So I'm just glad that we, largely with the help of a Rice, that we had the funds available. Technical director came in and helped make it all happen, really. So that's kind of my second point. My third point, we're going to be a little bit of a negativity now, as you always get with Jazz more often than not. It's Nef Agard, Moroccan international, signed last year, came from the French league, 27 years old. Like I said, good international experience, centre half, ball playing centre half, classy centre half. Came in last year, got injured at Rangers in pre-season, didn't see much of him till the latter end, and he shone through, especially in Europa. And what we liked about him is his best positioning is when we play three centre-backs, and he's one of them in the middle or on the left, and then he's got the kind of the license to kind of go a bit more forward to the left, bring the ball, play with it, ping 20-30 yard balls. That's I think that's his kind of strength. I think where he's struggling at the moment big time is flat back for 1 or 2, and that's where I think perhaps Zuma should help him a bit more. But for me, he's reminding me of Dupe. His defending is really, really bad, and it's kind of happening in a lot of games. He's giving away free kicks, penalties. He's got sent off. It's been a dreadful season for him. He just can't mark. The ball goes in. He's more often than not, struggling, not near any of the strikers. And then the strikers, especially like Nunes or especially like Isco, Newcastle, he easily got in between him and another defender. You got Emerson trying to help him out as much as he can. And it's worrying. I mean, what is the sort of instructions from the manager? Are we man marking people? Are we doing zonal marking? But whatever is happening, when we can see the goal and we look back on the replay, quite a few occasions, it's Agard's meant to, mark that striker, and he's lost him. Or he's not been able to position himself in the right way on the right side of the player. So rarely you see Agard intercepting or anything. I mean, Sheffield United, he had a half-decent game, and he should have. With respect, Sheffield United are one of the worst teams in the league, so he got the blocks in, a few tackles in, which is all good. But listen, he's a liability. He's not defending with 3 people at the back. You don't even count him. Kafal's been okay this season, giving it everything he's got. Emerson has been really, really good. Zuma's kind of all right, the usual self. Agard, Areola's improving game by game. Agard is close to losing his position with Mavropanos, I think. And that's worrying. We spent 30 million on him last season. And I, what I'm like, I'm black or white, left or right, I would sell him. I've got the huge worries over him. He's getting worse every game. I don't think he's that confident anyway. And more often than not, in the Premiership, you're going to be marking speedy players, really good strikers with good DNA. I mean, before I come on to Antonio, you looked at that Nunes goal, and it was a striker's DNA goal, wasn't it? He gambled, he got in between the two, great movement. Agard's movement as a defender in terms of, you remember John Terry, not very big, not very quick, but very, very clever. Or, that's what Zuma does, right? Zuma knows where to be. So Agard, like Dupe, ain't got Scooby, mate, about defending. And my third key takeaway from this season so far is I want to sell Agard. I'm not sure he's going to improve that much, and the longer this goes on, the worse his form's going to get. The price will dwindle. I heard there's a couple of top teams who want to sign him. He might be better for City or Liverpool because they, more often than not, they play out from the back a lot more than we do. They hold on to possession a lot more than we do. It might suit him. Whereas defending the way we do, it's just kind of not really working out for him. And I hope I'm wrong, but I don't hang around with things like that. I mean, for me, it's a worry. Let's keep an eye on him. But I think there's a mistake in him every single game. Newcastle, they that striker banged in 2, nearly got a hat-trick, but that was kind of nearly offside. He got away with that. But yeah, Life Agard is the one that's really winding me up at the moment this season. Fourth takeaway, ladies and gentlemen, you knew we were going to come to it. It's Antonio, 33 years old Antonio. Listen, the club's on the up. We won a trophy last season. We've been in Europe 2-3 seasons in a row. It's ambitious. We've got a good squad, good window, hopefully a bit more money to go again in January. You can see that. Antonio, I think, doesn't fit those plans. He's 33. He should not be the only striker at our club. He should not be the one that's leading from the front, because he doesn't, and most of the games he's missed chances. He doesn't hold on to the ball. His physical presence is limited. He's often not even up front. He's usually on the wing, having an ice cream, like I said, or shopping or something like that. But he's never there when you need him. He doesn't hold it up. Sometimes you see the odd brilliance in him where, he'll kind of, you give it to him, he'll do a quick turn and barge his way into the area and then shoot over the bar. But it just infuriates me where you won't see him make a run like a striker does. You won't see the movement of a striker. You will not see him sort of get into a position like 2 seconds ahead of the defender marking him, like a DNA of a striker, like I mentioned, which we saw with the Newcastle game, and also kind of in the Liverpool game with Núñez, really. So with him, he just stands there, and then you have to sort of bit tricky for you to find him because he doesn't do that off the ball movement that you expect. You've got to just give it to him standing there, and then more often than not, a bit of luck, he'll kind of barge his way in front of the centre half and hold it for a bit if he can. But things at Liverpool, I mean, Souček put in a plate for him, he totally muffed it up. Then there's another couple of games he's clean through, and I knew he was going to score. He's clean through, he ain't going to score. If he has to think, he's got time, he ain't going to score. And I don't think deep down he wants to play up front. So Moyes is really squeezing the shit out of him. Just put him on the bench or put him in one of those three behind a main striker. Let's get a main striker in who can play the way David Moyes wants. Someone like Bojan, maybe, even that I don't know, Solanke guy, one or two like that. So if Moyes is stubborn and wants to play that way, then just get a striker that can play like him. I don't think Skamaka could. I don't think Haller can. I don't think Kudus is that person. But and just give everyone a break because people are getting on his back. He can't press. When you press in defenders, defending starts from the front, as you know. He doesn't provide none of that. He's often jogging, and whether that's due to his age or physical condition, I don't know. But for me, my kind of, fourth key takeaway of the season so far is that the January window's coming. We need to buy a proper striker, right? And Antonio needs to rest a bit or play on the wing behind the main striker. It's all going to add up at the end of the season because I believe a good striker up front, we would have been 2-0 up against Liverpool in those first 6 minutes. We fluffed it all, right? Man City, we were winning 1-0 at half time. And again, I reckon a better striker up front, leading the front better, we could have got something out of that game. So same way Ward-Prowse will help us gain 10 points a season. Playing Antonio up front in all the games will cost us points at the end of the season. It's not good enough, and that's kind of one of the key things that I wanted to talk about. The last key takeaway for me, last but not least, huge news, and again, hands up. I didn't think this was going to happen, and I'm happy it happened, and I'm happy to hold my hands up that I was wrong, that Bowen signed a new contract, and it just doesn't happen in this day and age where a player honestly really likes where he is playing, and it's a non-top four club, it's a non-Champions League club, so it's so nice that a player, I don't want to go into that, no one wants him, he's not top four player, I don't want to go into that because we won't know that, but what we do know is that he loves the club, he loves the fans, he's one of our best players, he puts in a shift, he's settled, got twins, married to Danny Dyer, whose dad obviously is a great West Ham fan, and he genuinely believes in the project. So whatever the chairman has spoken to him about, he likes the idea. And again, a big thumbs up to David Sullivan. Again, great work behind the scenes, took many months, and he got him in a long-term contract, and we believe there's no real get-out clauses, which I thought there might be. So again, Jazz was wrong, so Frankie was right, so kudos to you, Frankie, my man. But yeah, I didn't see this happening. I thought he's going to probably go in January, and being tapped up by Klopp or someone else. But yeah, new contract, let's build a team around him. He obviously can improve on his finishing a bit, but thank God he's in the England squad more often than not now. So Southgate's realising that he's had a good season, he's scoring a lot more. I think he can score a bit more. And again, we get a proper striker up front. I think Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta will all benefit because that player will be more mobile than Antonio. He'll run down the channels. He'll hold the ball up a bit better. He'll make those runs which you want, that you can slip the person through, which you're not getting with Antonio. So all these players will look even better because Bowen sometimes has to do Antonio's job. He's got to run down the wing, and then he looks up, there's no one in the box, and he has to go in as a striker. But he's so strong physically, great stamina. Moisey obviously loves him but works him into the ground like a dog. But yeah, let's build a team around him. And again, mid-20s, strong as an ox, touchwood, really solid players to build a team around. Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Bowen, people like that. Fantastic. So yeah, that was the fifth and key takeaway for me, was Bowen's new contract. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the show, but I think you can tell, a little bit of negativity, but more positivity. We're happy about Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Bowen and a little bit uncertainty on Agard and the worry over Antonio. It's just what it is. I think looking at the whole team, we are getting better season by season. We got a better squad than when Rice was in the team for sure. We're a better all-round team, better all-round squad. And I think that's showing that in the results. I think we've had a good start to the season. We had a lot of tricky fixtures. Yes, of course, Jazz is going to moan that we should have beaten Bournemouth. We should have got something out of the City game, 1-0 up half-time, blah, blah, blah. But I think overall, and then also should have got 3 points again. Newcastle having fought a bit. But listen, we're doing well in the European competitions again, unbeaten, 100% record. We are still in the Carabao with Arsenal coming up, which is a sellout game actually. So yeah, a lot of good things to talk about, a few things to look at. So Antonio Agard for me, as I did a show before, are the things that we've got to keep an eye on, I think, and improve. And those are my worries really. Apart from that, I think it's ticking along nicely. So yeah, enjoy the channel, subscribe. I will be hopefully doing my match day morning show tomorrow, and then obviously as soon as the Villa game finishes, I will be back on with a live show interacting with you fans in the chat and my reaction to the full-time whistle and your reaction. So have a lovely Saturday, and I will catch up with you guys soon. Take care. Come on, you irons.